Welcome back to the Art of Suffering podcast with Dalton Darnell. Today we have Joe McDonald. He is the host of the On the Move podcast, correct? Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yeah, that's
On
it.
the Move podcast. Okay. And Joe called me last week and we visited a little bit. And I was like, man, you got to come on the podcast. He doesn't do a lot of podcasts, but he has his own podcast. So he feels my pain. He understands the struggle behind the mic, so to speak. So, Joe, let's start there, man. How did you get started with your podcast? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I started my podcast with my co-host Ben Cunningham, and honestly, it came about kind of peak COVID, like I guess 22, maybe summer of 22, and at the time there just wasn't a lot of kind of cowboy horse podcast stuff. Now they're a dime a dozen. Like I could rattle
Yeah.
off 4 or 5, including your podcast, where if you wanted to listen to guys talk about actually working on a ranch, or like horsemanship guys, or cow horse guys, or cutting guys, or whatever. Now the podcasts are everywhere. But at the time, it was kind of hard. Like if you were uh, like us and kind of like young enthusiastic guys, and we were both trainers like at the very beginning of our journeys and careers, it was hard to find podcasts to listen to if you just kind of wanted to see what was out there in terms of who you could learn from. So we decided to make our own, and it's gone a lot of different directions, and we've kind of had, you know, probably not dissimilar. I haven't listened to all your episodes, but at this point, I kind of just have on whoever I want to talk to, you know?
Yep.
And so it's kind of led to having like clinicians, working cowboys. We've had your dad on there. We've had the Van Luvens, um, but also people like veterinarians. And we had the person who was the physio for the horses, the U.S. horses at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, and
Oh, wow.
basically had her come on and talk about all the things that go into flying a horse to China and then preparing them to compete at the top level, and like what her job was. So that was pretty interesting. And so, yeah, we've gone a little all over the map.
That's crazy. What a terrible job. Whew. That'd be rough. And then having to get them to do stuff once you got there, that would be
Yeah.
brutal. What are
Yeah.
they competing? What are they using horses for in the? Well, I'm assuming the Summer Olympics, but
Yeah.
I'm
So in the Olympics, there's 3 different equestrian events. They have the 3-day eventing, the dressage, and the show jumping. And
okay.
she was the physio for the horses for the show jumping team, which actually, I guess I should know this, but won gold or silver. Like the best the U.S. has ever done as a team in show jumping was that
Really?
year. Yeah. And so, yeah, you got to take these big, like 1,600-pound warm bloods, fly them to China, keep them in box stalls, quarantine them, all that stuff, and then get them ready to go so they can go jump over like 5-6 foot jumps. And
That is insane.
yeah,
Oh man, I am not a good enough horseman to do that. That sounds
yeah.
wildly
Well, it
frustrating.
definitely, I've never done anything like that, but from what I've learned, it definitely takes a village to get a
Oh,
horse to
no
do that.
question. Yeah, dude, no question. Like mine doesn't want to go to the arena.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
What? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, so you've had the same co-host the whole time?
Yep, yep. There's been some variation. Like there's some episodes where like it might just be me on the
Mm-hmm.
podcast, but from a production standpoint, yep, it's been our thing, and we've been kind of doing
Man,
it together.
that's pretty cool. That's a long time, man. This thing's hard to schedule out. Like
Yeah,
I snow myself under pretty bad with this thing. Um, that's wild. I can't imagine having multiple people to work schedules around. Is he training horses too?
yeah. Right now, he trains horses kind of in Central Tennessee, like the
Okay.
Nashville area. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, I didn't know
hmm
that. So y'all do everything in Riverside.
Yeah, yeah. We've kind of used Riverside from the beginning, which for
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to take over your podcast, but for people listening, that's like it's basically Zoom but for podcasts, and
Mm-hmm.
it can do a lot better than pretty much any other software, but in my experience there's quite a learning curve.
Yeah, no question. Well, that's everything. I told my
Yeah.
YouTube guy the other day, I said, I don't want to learn anything new. He was telling me how to do something. I said, I don't want to learn it. I don't want anything new right now. Nothing. Um, because I just can't, dude. Mentally, like, I can't learn anything new. I just need to stick with what I got. Alex Hormozy says all the time, he's like, just get good at the one thing you're good at. Like,
Yeah.
that's hard to do for an idea guy. You know what I mean?
Oh
Oh, that's
yeah.
interesting. So, Joe, where'd you grow up, man? Kind of what was your background like there?
Sure. So I grew up in Blacksburg, Virginia, which is if anyone knows, it's kind of in Southwest Virginia, not far from like where West Virginia, Kentucky, and Virginia all come together. That part of the world, it's the town where Virginia Tech is.
Okay.
And so I grew up, my family has a ranch here, and my dad's managed the cattle program on the ranch my whole life. And my mom was a horse trainer. She
Mm-hmm.
wore a lot of different hats during her career, but during basically my childhood, she ran the riding program at Virginia Tech.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mhm.
So, you grew up there. Did you go to Virginia Tech?
I did.
Man, you never left. Are you still there now?
Yeah. So I actually, my now wife and I lived in South Carolina for about 4 years
Okay.
after school. I lived in Greenville, South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
which was an awesome place to live, especially pre COVID. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
COVID didn't hit South Carolina near as bad as a lot of places, but um, yeah, I went to Virginia Tech and I got a degree in industrial and systems engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And for 4 years after college, I made a living as a software engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I lived down there, but when COVID was happening, things started to get shut down, and um, they were talking about like closing down state borders and doing all this stuff, and the world was ending.
Mm-hmm.
And basically I had the opportunity to quarantine in my 900 square foot apartment at in Greenville, or I could come back to the family farm and
Mm-hmm.
have acres and acres and acres and have my horse and you know live a much more
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then that kind of led so I am back in Blacksburg now. um, and that kind of led the whole COVID deal led for me kind of riding horses for the public and everything.
That's awesome. Now, you did
Oh,
do a stint. Now, if I remember correctly, you went and worked for a guy for a little while. Was that that wasn't you? That was Jake Corwin. Get my Virginians mixed up. Um,
yeah, yeah,
he
no,
went and worked with Bill Barnes or something for a while. Um,
yeah, Jake
back in the
Jake did.
day. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I know Bill, and I what didn't live too far from him when
Mm-hmm.
I was in Greenville, but I never worked for him or anything like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's funny. Like, so how old are we talking here? We're talking. We got back into horses. What, 24, 25 years old?
Um, yeah, so I only ever went about 6 months not having horses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I grew up in pony club and 3 day eventing and
Mm-hmm.
fox hunting, and
Okay.
like all I wanted to do um around here, like growing up, I would like go out and take the skid steer and a chainsaw and just build jumps for me to like run across the farm and jump and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I was obsessed with that for a long time. And then in high school, I backed off of it some, like I didn't compete,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because it's hard, like as a male, like a 14-year-old male, to have other male friends, especially in
Mm-hmm.
the English world,
Mm-hmm.
riding. And it was funny, like I'm into the ranch roping and all that stuff now, but at the time, at least for me, that would have like in Virginia, the only exposure I had to kind of any Western disciplines were like reining and team roping.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of those really interest me. And I kind of got into team roping a little bit in high school. And I was like, just like doing the dummy and like, okay, I can learn to do this. But I went to my first team roping and I like still have this image burned into my brain of watching this gal who was probably a little too heavy set to be going as fast as she was going on her horse. And she turned the corner, healed this calf, and like just stopped, and everything stopped. And then all of a sudden, I just saw that white roping glove turn a deep, dark red, and that girl didn't have a thumb anymore.
Oh, son.
And I mean, and it was a classic team roping scene where it was like all the horses were tied to the trailers at like 1 a.m. in the morning. Everybody's drinking beer and doing all this. And it was just a big party. And that happened. And like everything went dead quiet. And I looked and I was like, I don't think this is like the circles I want to run in. So that actually soured me on roping for a long time because that was my exposure to it.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
We do a lot of prepping people for stuff, but going that fast, you have things that happen. But dadgummit, dude.
Yeah.
I got my hand caught in my dallies one time, and that is a spooky feeling. And the only thing that'll save you, and the only thing that saved me, is how good a horse I was riding. Like if your horse listens, you can keep yourself kind of out of a pickle there for a little bit, or at least ride out of it. But if that horse has got one job to do and it knows its job real good, and that job is to stop, you're in bad trouble, buddy.
Yeah.
I still got a scar on my hand from when I did that. And the calf was only weighing, I bet, 200 pounds.
Oh man.
It was at a Brandon. Whew.
I had a very I've only had my hand get caught once, and it was this winter when we were calving out. And it wasn't a calf. It was like it was in the snow, and it was just kind of a cold, like wet, like we don't have bad winters in Virginia, but we do have winter. And so there's like 6 inches of snow on the ground, and it was kind of nasty.
Miserable.
Anyway, we had this calf, and it was alive, but it was just gonna, like, we wanted to keep it inside. And we were like, okay, well, let's put it on the sled, see if it was a heifer, mama can follow it back to the barn. Well, she gets about halfway to the barn and then turns around and goes back to where she had the calf.
Classic.
And I'm like, and I mean, this calf wasn't but like 10 feet in front of her, but it, heifers.
Yeah.
And so anyway, like, and I wasn't going to chase her around in the snow. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to neck her and then kind of be like, hey, we can't do anything else but go to the barn. But you can imagine first calf, crappy weather, all the hormones and adrenaline she had going on. So I was just dealing with her, and oh my God, I finally got her lined out, and I was kind of the same deal. Like I was on a good horse, but yeah, she went to pull, and I mean, I don't know how big she was, but she felt really big at the time. She's at least a 2-year-old heifer now. So, and I was like, oh, I'm going to lose my hand. And it worked out. My horse came forward when I asked, and it didn't happen. But yeah, my heart was kind of going to sink, especially
that horse is key.
Yeah.
That's a very important piece of the puzzle that not quite everyone has. And I've told people at clinics and stuff, I'm like, hey man, you ain't bringing that thing in here. Like, you can't rope on that thing. Like, that's not a thing. Just because I don't think people quite understand how hurt they can get and how bad it can go, because it can get really bad really fast when you add a cow and a rope to a horse that is ill prepared. That's kind of one of the spooky things. This clinic thing I'm doing, trying to do a clinic in all 50 states or whatever, like, and borrowing a horse at every one of them. There's bound to be a few in there that are not going to know their job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
I was thinking about you today because I knew I had this on the schedule, and I do some teaching here for our business and stuff, and I've taught like maybe like 3 or 4 people how to rope, mainly my help. Um, but I'm like, man, I can't imagine going into a clinic setting and teaching people to rope, and they're not like everyone I've taught to rope has kind of been in the program already, and it's like you have these tools on your horse and you can do this and do that, and okay, we're going to build to this and build to that, because I'm kind of preaching to the choir. But roping is a very like a brick by brick thing. Like it's, the clinics are great. You know, I've been to ranch roping clinics. I'm fixing to come to one of your ranch roping clinics, but man, it's a brick by brick thing. It's not, to me, like the horsemanship. You can kind of like throw a lot at somebody and you're like, okay, now go take that for like the next 3 months and you'll be fine. But excuse the turn of phrase, but it's like, you can't give them too much rope to hang themselves when you're doing this. 100%. It's like, no, kind of what you need to do is like, I'm going to teach you this, and then you're the Karate Kid and you're just going to wax on, wax off for like the next 4 months before I tell you the next thing. So I was thinking about that today. And I'm like, man, the clinics must be hard because you got to keep people engaged wanting to do stuff. But I'm sure you get to a point where it's like, okay, now go do this 10,000 times.
Well, that's why we swapped the format. So now it's a 3 classes per day system. So there's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced, to where like you bring a beginner in and you give them everything they need in the first 4 hours of the day. And then they just go over there and they just rope the dummy. Like that's what they need to be doing, you know, and you touch on feeding and dallying and, you know, managing your rope and that kind of stuff. But it's very like A before B, so to speak. And then you bring in the advanced guys in the afternoon for 4 hours of teaching with them, and you don't do any of that. It's like an advanced guy, we're talking about tweaking this dude. You know what I mean? Like he might need 2 pointers on a turnover, and that's what they come for. Like those guys, I had a guy come to the last clinic I taught. He walked in, dude. I said, what you wanting to get out of the clinic? He said, I want a contra. And I was like, well, very well then. I mean, that's just the hardest shot in ranch roping. Okay, here we go, you know? And that's literally all I taught that guy for 2 days, because he had everything else. He could throw everything else. His horse was freaking awesome. His rope handling was as good as mine. All of it was as good as mine, except for he couldn't throw a contra. And so we pretty much just roped with this guy for 2 days. It was super fun. He was left-handed. He was probably one of the handiest left-handed ropers I've ever seen in my life. Like, really, really, really handy. That's rare. That's a rare thing. Like lefties, good lefties can keep themselves out of trouble because they're trouble. It's tough roping with a lefty.
Yeah, I've had that thought, and I've roped with some lefties before, but I'm like I feel like I'm motivated to get better, and you know all the stuff you say, but I'm like, man, if I came in here and I was left-handed, I would make damn sure at home I was as handy as possible before I came out in public. It's like,
I'm telling you,
it's kind of like when someone, I don't know, any sport, and someone's wearing like something ridiculous or whatever, and you're like, that's either the best guy here or he's awful. You know, like you go to the gym to play basketball and someone's dressed goofy, it's like that he's either going to lace everything or he's going to be the last one picked.
Yes, period. Well, and I tell people, like, people will call and be like, hey, you know, my 12-year-old wants to get into roping. He's left-handed. I'm like, swap him to right-handed. And they're like, what? I'm like, don't do it to him. Just make him do it right-handed. He doesn't know. He doesn't know any different. You know, tell him it's more important to manage your coils with your left hand. I don't know. Like, oh my gosh, because the rope choices are worse. It's just harder for a left-handed person in the roping world for sure. But I don't know, man. The last one I did, the one at Texas A&M, wasn't really a clinic. It was like a seminar. It was very challenging. Like probably the most challenging thing I've ever done as far as roping is concerned. Very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable, but we survived and they didn't lynch me or nothing or chat me or, you know, it was, but anyway, so this next one I got coming is in Belgrade, and we swapped the Belgrade, Montana. We swapped the 3 class system, and there's 52 individual students in it.
Wow.
The thing is slam full. I was like, I don't even know what to say about this. So I don't know what that's going to be like. It's going to be a great video because there's going to be freaking so many people there. It'll be
Yeah.
cool to
You're going
meet
to look
everybody.
legit.
And yeah, I mean, I'll look something like an idiot probably, but that's okay. Oh my gosh. But anyway, so we're going to fly in, borrow a horse, and go to it. And I'm going to teach as hard as I can teach for 2 days. And um, anyway, they want a rope up there in Montana. I can tell you that. That's it. Every time a register comes in, I'm like, oh my gosh, what in the world? Normally, we're taking 12 people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's hard to find 12 people sometimes. But if you make it cheaper for everybody and then meet them where they are, it's like, because a beginner would be like to go into an act like a normal clinic setting, it would be so uncomfortable to be a beginner. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're in there with people who's been roping for freaking 10 years. You know what I mean? And you're the guy that can't throw a sidearm, and then you got to stand there in front of everybody and learn a sidearm while they wait on you. That's miserable. Nobody wants to do that. So the way it's set up now is it's just the beginners, or they're all going to be together, and I think it'll be really cool. But I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted because we're going to find out kind of how it goes. But it's I don't know, man. It's pretty interesting. So, Joe, how long have you been married, man?
I will be married for a year on September 14th.
Okay, year one, baby. Are we still in the
Mm-hmm.
honeymoon phase, or is that died yet?
I don't know. I'll let you know if that drops
You'll
out.
know.
We've known each other for a really long time. We knew each other in college.
Mm-hmm.
And then we dated for a really long time. Honestly, probably my fault that we dated so long. But COVID was a factor in there. I'm not going to lie. The plague did hit. So I feel like I could at least get a little asterisk there.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, honestly, I was just talking about this with my wife the other day. It was like, I'm the happiest now that I think I've ever been. So
Yeah. Oh,
not
I
that,
get it, dude.
yeah,
No
not
kids
that,
yet, though.
no kids yet. Nope.
Do we got plans for kids?
Yeah, I
Do we
think we'd
want?
like some kids. Um, yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is like we just got to a point probably this spring where um we were at a place where my wife didn't have to work a job, like it's just our business
Mm-hmm.
supporting us.
Mm-hmm.
And for me at least that was really important
Mm-hmm.
because if we do have kids one day and we're able to have kids and all and we're blessed that way, um, it would be really important to me that at least one of us is like very involved in the upbringing of our
Yeah,
kids.
they're at home.
Yeah.
Somebody's at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It was the same for us. Like I quit my job cowboying when Wiley was born. So
Yeah.
I freaking love that job. It's hands down, no questions asked, the most favorite job I've ever had. But I couldn't. I mean, I was making $350 a week. You know what I mean? Working
Yeah.
7 days a week almost, or 6 days a week at least. And so it was like give all of that money to some kid down the road to raise my youngin, or quit. And
Yeah.
so I made the choice, and it took me about 2.5 years before my wife was able to stay home, and that was the goal. And that 2.5 years, I basically spent all that time building 310 for free.
That's
Never took a
awesome
check.
though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it was God. God just designed it that way, and I got to stay home with Wiley, and we're freaking best buddies. So he's like a good dog, dude. You can take that kid anywhere. He is a good kid to have around, really.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you too, kind of on the kid thing and like our business, like I feel so fortunate and so blessed because my wife trains horses too.
Mm-hmm.
This past weekend, we went to a horse show for her, and all I did was like groom horses and clean stalls, and I was the yes man, and she was the star of the show. And then we got a show in September where we'll reverse the roles, and she'll be the support, and I'll kind of go do it. And I don't know. I don't know if it's selfish or what, but there is part of it that I feel like we're just really enjoying this season of life where we get to wake up and be together for large portions of the day. Because I've got a lot of friends who, at least from my perspective, seem really happy in their marriage, but it's like she works at this company, he works at this company, and they don't get to see each other near as much as I get to see my wife. And I feel very fortunate with that because she's my best friend.
No, kids change it, dude. They change it
Yeah.
big time.
Right.
And nobody wants to say that. Have you ever met Richard Boatwright?
No, I haven't, but I did listen to your episode with him.
This freaking guy, dude. This guy. He said to me, I was sitting with him it was like the first ranch open I ever went to, ever. I was sitting on my horse next to Richard. It was in Gay, Georgia. Just hilarious. Great name. Anyway, I'm sitting there next to him, and I just got married. We had been married maybe close to a year, maybe. And I'm sitting there, and he doesn't even look at me, dude. He just says, y'all thinking about having kids? And I was like, yeah, I mean, we're thinking about it. And without ever moving, he's sitting on his horse. He says, it's not worth the fleeting moments of happiness you'll have after they're here. And I was like, what? You know, literally the next month we find out my wife's pregnant. And I called him about 6 months after Wiley was born. I was like, no one has ever been that honest with me in my entire freaking life, dude. Because as a man, you are going to have to mourn your old life. Like what you're describing with your wife changes so drastically without any warning. Nobody, and lots of guys will like bullshit you. They'll be like, yeah, it's going to be tough, you know, but they're not going to like pull you to the side and go, hey buddy, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your whole life. Like, no questions asked. And it's not because the kid is hard. It's because the responsibility of being a father is so heavy. Like, you literally can screw this thing up so freaking bad, dude. Like, it's you know? And your wife, if you were best friends with your wife and super equally yoked like what you're talking about, it's super fun. But if you and your wife are not on the same playing field when it comes to how to raise your kid, this is destructive territory. This is a bad, scary deal. Like for me and my wife, we both believe in spankings. Okay. There's a big difference between abuse and spanking. Like there's biblical discipline, yada, yada, yada. Everybody wants to be like, spanking's a beating. I disagree with that. I've popped my kid on the rear end enough that he knows not to test. You know what I mean? But my wife is okay with this. But if you happen to be married to someone who is not okay with this, it's going to be really tough because some little boys need to get the smoke. You know what I mean? Another example is like babying them too much. Like when your boys get big enough to where they need to suffer some natural consequences, okay? This is where dad steps in and says, okay, for instance, it's wintertime and hey, put your shoes on. Dad, I don't want to wear shoes. Okay, come on. It's way better than a spanking. Like you could say a kid saying to you, I'm not going to put my shoes on. You could check that under the disrespect box and go, you're being a little disrespectful right here. Or you can just say, come on, buddy. Let's go outside and do what we were going to do. And that natural consequence is a way better teacher than any spanking would have ever been. But if your wife is a savior of this, it's like, no, sweetie, come on, we're going to put it's too cold outside. And they don't get that lesson. That's something me and my wife are good at. She's like, yeah, let them walk. I mean, let it go, you know? And these are things you learn through your marriage. Lots of it's like you come out of a situation and you look at your spouse and you go, man, I don't know what the heck that was. I don't know what to do right here. And you kind of figure it out together. But if it's never discussed and then you get in this big wreck about it and you're feeling real like that was the wrong thing to do, and she's feeling like it was the right thing to do, but no one ever talks about these things. They just have a kid and then it's like this big freaking stink that that you really can't get by because you're pissed at them, but you both think you're right. It's tough. It's really, it's a very challenging thing. A big one that I've not experienced, because me and my wife were both on the same page with this, but a lot of men struggle with, is like co-sleeping. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
woman wants the baby to sleep in the bed with them, and the man's like, what do you do? What do you just tell her no? That doesn't work. Telling your wife no does not work. That's not a freaking thing, you know? So I don't know, man. I am a little jealous of you. Like, that phase of life is so freaking awesome. Like, what you're describing is so fun, but so is the dad part, you know? But
Right.
I think you living in that moment and just letting God choose when the kids come is that's abiding, dude. That's cherishing your wife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely someone who's naturally inclined to next phase, next phase, next phase.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Um, I have a degree in systems
Horsemanship.
engineering.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
they don't make people more anal about what needs to
Mm-hmm.
come next than
Yeah.
systems engineers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trained to do that, already had disposition for that. But one thing I think the horses have really helped me with, and my wife has really helped me with, is sitting in the moment, just kind
Mm-hmm.
of not doing the mental calculus of like what's next, what's next, what's next, almost to the way it can become anxiety if you let
Yeah.
it. I
Mm-hmm.
think planning ahead, like especially with horses or when you're cowboying, you need to
Mm-hmm.
anticipate. Like
Yeah.
a, a small amount of anxiety is good
A-
because you need to be thinking about what's next.
yeah.
But
That's how you
you
get
can,
cussed out if you don't.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've had lots of help that I have kind of been like, what? So what did you think was going to happen next?
Yeah.
Like
I've
we were
been that
just all
help.
yeah, we were all just sitting out here in this field with these cows. And like, did you just think it was just all going to magically like come to fruition? Like, what did you think? But anyway,
Yeah.
that's a rabbit hole. Um, but yeah, I think my wife and the horses have really helped me kind of learn to sit in the moment, sit in your season of life. I'm not perfect at it by any means, but I do think it's fair to say I've gotten a little better. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and my faith has helped with that quite a bit too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, allowing God to kind of open the next door, and then you're like,
Yes.
okay, I'll walk through the door. Don't be
Yes.
walking around the room trying to punch holes in the drywall.
Yes. I am that guy, dude.
Yeah,
I will say this.
I can be too.
Your horsemanship, like, every principle you understand about that animal will apply so well to your children. It is the coolest freaking thing on earth to watch. Like, pressure and release, freaking oh man, what is it? Air, hair, skin, bone. Like, that's my spanking strategy. You know what I mean? Like, if I can get it off of that'll do, then I'm done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if he's being a dink and I say that'll do, we're good. We did it. But if I get the middle finger, and you know what it's like when a horse throws you the middle finger, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, let's
Mm-hmm.
step over on the front end, and they just waller through it like, yeah, I'm not doing that today. And you're reach up there with that freaking left spur, and you're like, wham, yes, you are. You know what I mean? And there's some of that that's like, I'm just now getting to the phase with my kid to where it's like phase 1, phase 4. So he knows that I know, and I know that he knows. So it's like with a horse that you've been training for a long time, that you know what kind of backup they can give you. And it's very easily recognizable when you ask them to back up and they're just being a puke through it. You know what I'm saying? To where
Mm-hmm.
you go from, I'm going to ask real soft, to, uh, you're giving me the middle finger, you know? Um,
Yeah. You're
up to this
working on your
point,
punctuality.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
And up to this point in my career as a father, right? It's all been training. So like it's been all 4 phases, air, hair, skin, bone, like all like we're going to be real intentional and like, but now it's the point where it's like I say that'll do, and if that'll do didn't do it, then we go straight to, you know, having a talking to in the bathroom. You know what I mean? And so that's a really fun spot to be in, because once that kid understands your standard, they're real. I mean, they're just good. Like if you do it all before they're 5, like they're just good kids, most of them. I mean, I don't know. I might just have really good kids, but I was pretty hard on my kids. You know what I mean? Like I kind of expect them to at least be respectful. Like you can disagree with me and not want to do what I'm asking you to do. And we can even kind of cry about it a little bit, because I feel like I want to cry like half the time God asked me to do something, you know, but we're still going to say yes, sir. And we're still going to go do it, because that's what men do. And that's what's going to be expected of you in 10 years, you know? But you're going to love it, dude. You're going to be like, oh, this is the same. You and your wife, because my wife's never trained horses or rode horses or anything. So I'm telling her, you know, I'm like, hey, this is pressure and release right here. We can let him get to this one little spot, and then we can kind of take it all away. And she's like, what in the world are you freaking talking about? You know what I mean? But you and your wife, that'll be like a cool, that'll be a cool bond that you guys have, because y'all will be like, man, he's just like the horse I rode today. Like, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
Awesome. Yeah. I can't wait. Well, like I said, we're not in a rush, but I'm sure if it's meant to be, it'll be a fun chapter.
Ain't no doubt. How old are you?
I just turned 30.
Oh yeah, dude, you're chilling. You're chilling. That's good times. We had ours a little earlier than that. I wish we would have waited longer, but maybe I'll appreciate that when I'm crippled from arthritis at 50. You know what I mean?
There's pros or cons to either situation for sure.
Mm-hmm. But building a business ain't no dog petting contest. I mean, how did you go from being a freaking engineer to training horses? Like, what was that? I mean, that's crazy sounding to me.
I just have a real affinity for poverty.
Yeah, don't we all?
No, so I kind of was doing engineering was something that I think it was fair to say I was good at, but not necessarily passionate about. And I think for a long time for me, school was, I liked school because it was very, very easy to tell if you were doing the right thing or not, right? And I'm a highly competitive person. So, like, not that I want to be one of those people that, like, I don't think how you do in college is a reflection of how you go on and live the rest of your life. But in college, I was objectively like in a very difficult engineering program and did very, very well, in my opinion. And then I got into the real world, and you can't just like do what they say, and like you have to kind of think for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And because you can't just do what they say and succeed. And I was kind of getting around the horsemanship thing. Actually, the summer after I graduated college, a gal that was a little older than me, but had ridden on the Virginia Tech equestrian team with me, and my mom coached her and stuff. She said, hey, there's this guy coming into town. I think you'd really be interested in watching him. My parents host him every year, and his name's Buck Brannaman. You should come see him. And so I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds interesting. And I like watched the documentary about him, and went to the clinic and kind of saw what it was about. And it was cool to me because, again, no context at all like leading up to this clinic, I kind of did a deep dive because I'm the systems engineer. I'm the over prepper, right? So I was like, I learned about like what a bridle horse was and the vaquero tradition and who Ray Hunt was and all this stuff. And I'm like learning all this stuff that I'd been around horses my entire life, but pretty much everything I knew was from an English background.
Yeah.
And so I saw Buck and some of the other people at the clinic, and it was cool to me, um, because it finally felt like a place where I fit in a little bit, because they were the first, like, everyone I had been around, and this is not a slight on the hunter jumper world at all, but the majority of people I had been around that were really accomplished with horses were either women or homosexual men, which is totally fine. They were doing their deal. And like a lot of those people can get a lot done with a horse, but it was just never something that like I identified with, being like kind of your classic, like grew up playing football and like working on the family farm and doing all this stuff. Right. Like I was kind of a blue collar ag kid growing up. And so I didn't really relate to those people. And then, but I did have this really strong passion for horses. So I always kind of felt like not like I was fitting in 100%. And then, like I said, I saw these people and like kind of the vaquero thing and the long ropes and the all the cool stuff, right? And I was like, man, this is like, I feel like I could fit into this, because it's people who really appreciate fine horsemanship, but there's like some machismo to it. Like there's a masculinity to it that I feel like I identify with, coming from kind of an ag background. And honestly, it was just like the first time I'd ever been exposed to any of that. Because like I said, anybody I knew that really did like any Western disciplines and stuff, they were team ropers, barrel racers, or reiners, and just stuff I really didn't want to, that didn't interest me.
Yeah.
So that was the summer after college. And that kind of just started me, like I had my own horses. I'd have project horses that I'd like buy really cheap, train up and flip and do all the stuff. I'd, use them here, working cows here, the family farm and all that stuff. And then it got to a point where people were asking me for help. And then I'd have my horse and then a client horse. And then, and so all this was like growing, and I was slowly but surely getting handier, and I wanted it. And I'm telling you, like when I say I wanted it, I get a lot of people who come to me and they're like, "Oh, I want to train horses and do this stuff." And I respect that. But like there was one point, it was February in Virginia. There was a foot of snow on the ground, and I was keeping this 3-year-old stud that I was starting for someone across the road in the bull pasture, in the round pen that I had set up. I kept him in that round pen, and I started this booger in that round pen in February in Virginia in a foot of snow while working my day job and riding my other horse. And I did that because like I wanted to go out and get better. And I mean, I just remember I would get up early in the morning so I could start work an hour early, take a 2-hour lunch break, and then work later in the evenings, because that was like the warmest part of the day and it still didn't get above freezing. And I went out there and I got that booger started, and he was like kind of a nasty little stud colt, but that image sticks out in my mind. Like I went out there every day and worked with that horse and froze my ass off. And I get people who come and they're like, "Yeah, I want to train horses. I want it. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I hope you're serious. I really hope you're serious. But I'll be honest, I don't think I have found some, but they're few and far between, the people that want it as bad as I do. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying there's not more talented people, but I don't think anyone's ever questioned how bad I want it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, dude, is like we have these thresholds in our life where we think we're working hard. where we're like, yeah, man, I freaking work hard. And then you get to another level and then another level and another level. And like as men, one of the biggest enemies, one of the biggest lies the enemy tells us is that we're working hard when we're not.
Mm.
And it's always really hard and it's really fun to bring a guy in that thinks he's worked hard and he has not even come, that has no clue what his actual potential is. And very few will stand the test of time and actually learn how to do it. And I'm not even talking about training horses. You can insert thing here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I managed restaurants for a couple of years in college, and like I thought I had worked hard until I got a job at Parkman Cattle Company.
Yeah.
And I thought I had worked hard at Parkman Cattle Company until I took over managing 310. And I had a conversation with a buddy of mine today. He's trying to get a business going. He was like, I only got 8 hours to work during the day. And I was like, who told you that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't remember the last time I worked 8 hours. What in the world, you know? And if you want to build something that's yours, like, it is not a dog petting contest. It just isn't. Like, you're going to have to find another freaking gear, dude. Like, if you want to be a good dad, a good husband, and run a business, get your freaking mind right, because work's all you're going to do. And I've been in this season of life where, like, everything that I want to do is just my flesh crying out for comfort. And so we beat it down. Like, no, we're not doing that. That's not what's required of me right now, you know? And everything that I'm being asked to do by the king is for his kingdom. This podcast being an example of that. And I'm sure you felt this over the last 4 years with your podcast, but on lots of these episodes leading up to them, like you don't want to do them. You're just like, dang it,
Oh
man, I
yeah.
got to go freaking sit and talk, you know? Now, once you
Yeah.
get in, it's fun and all the things. But like, that's the point. Like, I love playing golf. Like, that's like my guilty pleasure. And I don't play golf anymore. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
play golf because I don't have time. And it says in First Corinthians, and I applied this to drinking pretty heavy, like quitting drinking, but it says, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are profitable. Right? Now you take
Mm-hmm.
that little phrase and you apply that to basically anything in your life that you're finding comfort in, and go, okay, it's okay for me to go play golf. My wife doesn't care if I wanted to go play golf. My kids don't care. They'd probably come with me. But is it
Mm-hmm.
profitable, right? Is it the same as me taking my son out and throwing the baseball with him? No, it's not. He's not old enough to play golf. Is it the
Mm-hmm.
same as me taking them fishing? You know what I mean? Or, I mean, even practicing my roping. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's profitable for me, even though I don't want to. Man, when you've roped the dummy as much as I've roped the dummy, you don't want to rope the dummy. Like, I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, it's and everybody else looks at that and they're like, oh gosh, I wish I had that much time to rope the dummy. And I hope you find the time. But the fact of the matter is like, making these choices is part of being a man. And saying that I'm going to trade my comfort for my future is part of building what you have built. That's what it takes. Like, starting a stud colt during lunch sounds like miserable to me. I don't want to do that. I don't want
Yeah.
to do that at all.
Yeah.
So it's what's required to get what you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and you know, I don't think this is always the way you should look at it, because it can get unhealthy. But like you mentioned Alex Hormozy, and I've heard him say this, and I'd never heard of the guy back when I was doing all that, but I did have
Mm-hmm.
these thoughts of like I was going out there and messing with this colt and everything, and I was just kind of smiled because I was like, other people aren't doing this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that
Yep.
does, like, it just kind of makes me smile. Now there, now the bigger the world gets, you know, there's always a bigger fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're never gonna
Yeah.
be Billy Badass or anything like that, but I've always just kind of I guess, learn to find some joy in, like, yeah, I'm doing this and maybe this sucks, but like, it's pretty unique to me what I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times I feel like those things, that means I'm right where I'm supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like, I don't know 100% what goes into your day to day, but like from my perspective, I bet there's some stuff you do, or like you have guys that call you or whatever. And it's like, that's pretty cool, because who else is like in the state of Alabama dealing with these problems, right?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it probably sucks to be dealing with them, but from the 100-foot view up in the air, it's like, that's cool
Oh,
that
yeah, no
you're in those
question.
situations.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And that's the point. Is I had a conversation with a guy, man, he listens to the podcast, so what's up, man? He called me. I was in the airport flying home from Texas, and he said to me, he was like, he got in a real bad horse wreck when he was young. And he's been having a hard time with the pain and all the stuff. And so he called me on the arthritis, and he was like, how do you deal with it? And I was like, man, when your mind shifts from suffering being a bad thing to suffering being a good thing, it makes it fun. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you start watching what the God of the universe does with people who are good at suffering, it's real hard not to get fired up about it. And people have a hard time being around you because of this. And cowboys have a special affinity for suffering. And that's kind of where some of the name of this podcast came from. That is like, some of the greatest sufferers I've ever watched were cowboys. Like my dad is so good at doing shitty stuff. It's just terrible. It's like, and I'm over there bellyache. I'm like, dude, this sucks. And he's like, it's just challenging. Like, you're just a freak, is what you are. And I'm like, this is terrible. I got to ride this freaking crappy horse 25 miles. And there's people who sit at the house and fog up the windows about the videos. But dude, you come get in that saddle for 25 miles on that particular horse, the windows will freaking unfog pretty quick. The romance dies in that deal pretty fast. And like, lots of the guys I've had on that do what you do, this is the question that I ask them, is that, why do you think you like suffering? Like, why do you like it so much?
Hmm. Well, I'll preface that by saying I'm definitely, I would consider myself a horse trainer, not a cowboy. I know there's people get particular about that. I go in like cowboy when I can and really enjoy it, but that's honestly probably one of those, like, it's like golf for me. It's if I do it
Mm-hmm.
too much, I'm like, oh, I got more
I'm
horses over
addicted.
there I should be riding than doctoring
Yes.
these calves or whatever.
Yes.
Um, but I mean, for me, the best way I've ever heard it described. Do you know who Steven Ranella is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so he runs. So some of your listeners would probably know him. He runs the show and the company Meat Eater, and he's like a hunting guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember all the stages, but he talks about like there's different levels of fun, right? Because he goes on all these big wild hunts, like caribou in Alaska and like elk up in the Rockies, and like does all this, like these guys go and suffer, right, to go kill
Yes.
this big game or whatever. And he's like, yeah, there's like tier 1 fun, but that's like tier 1 fun is like getting on a roller coaster, and it's like we're on the roller coaster for 90 seconds and then you get off and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now the fun is over.
Yeah.
And he's got these like different tiers, but tier 4, or whatever the top tier is like that. Packing out this elk is tier 4 fun, because it's not fun right now, but I'll always look back and smile. It's like the job at Parkman,
Yes.
you talk about it all the time. It's not fun in the moment, but you look back and you're like, that's so much fun. And
Yes.
there are times, I think, as you mature, you can like be in the moment of suffering
Mm-hmm.
and be like, okay, but let's be honest, this is a little fun, you know?
Yes.
And so to me, I feel like that's the best description I've heard, is like people who are cowboying for a living, or you're going through the painstaking process of, years and years of really developing a nice horse, or whatever it is. It's like, we're just going to sludge along, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is that like tier 4 fun when we look back and talk about it. And now that I'm saying it out loud to you, it's probably no different, than faith, where it's like we're supposed to sludge along, suffer here on earth, and it's tough and things are hard. But then, the result is eternity at the end of it. And it feels good. So like, I know probably some of the roughest days I've had, doing cowboy stuff or working horses, or whatever it was, really hard. I was into running quite a bit in like high school and college, like really hard races I've run. That's another one. Like, you just like, that's nothing but pure suffering, and the only person inflicting it on you is yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Those guys are freaks,
And
dude.
and so
Ooh.
like all, but it feels really good at the end for whatever reason. Almost like we're made to do it.
Yeah. Right. Oh man. Well, I and that's true. The story's always good. Everybody loves the story. And I had several days in Wyoming that I would count as some of the funnest days doctrine I've ever had. And then on the flip of the coin, there's some days gathering out there that were some of the hardest, longest miles I've ever traveled horseback. And as a whole, I'm counting the experience as an absolute transformation of oneself, Like, I went into that job okay at doing the job. I came out of that job with the mentality I could go do this anywhere in the world. There's people who are better at it than me. No question. There's better ropers. There's way better horsemen, like freaking way better. But I can go and get by whatever I need to go and get by to do the job, You're probably not going to find much rougher terrain other than Arizona. That, like, Wyoming's it was pretty nasty in some of the spots we were in. But the confidence you get from doing that is the reward. It's like the ability to look at these clinics and go, we're going to rope in an arena. Okay. Oh yeah, we're going to be all right. Like,
yeah,
it's not the side of a mountain, right? Okay, cool. So it's just, and it's like I was telling that guy, I was just like, man, once you come to the realization of what God is doing inside of you through these things, basically level 4 fun for me right now is raising my kids. It's very challenging. Like, in the moment, we have some really tough times. And as you watch the growth of these young men, there is nothing more important in the world than turning them into men. I mean, it's just the coolest freaking thing ever. It's just really fun to watch. So the suffering aspect of life is true for everyone. And that's why, like, with this podcast, I have everybody on here, anybody and everybody. If they say, I want to share my story, come on. And I've had guys from California that didn't even know I cowboyed. Didn't even know. They just saw one of the reels on Instagram or something and messaged me. It was like, I'd like to share my story. And bro, dog, if I get to feeling bad about myself, I can go listen to some of those episodes and go, you know what? I got it pretty good. I am, God's asked me to suffer, but not like that,
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible, really. But I don't know, man. If you have an understanding of God's purpose for you and what He wants for you, and then once you come to the realization that that's how you get there, then all of it's like, freaking, let's go, dude. Bring it on. Teeth gritted. You're just a warrior. That's how warriors think. Like, warriors want to fight. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. Could I don't know if pushback is the right word. Could I offer a different perspective for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I definitely think there's an element of, in terms of getting in line with whatever God's purpose is for you. 100% there's an element of you got to learn to suffer. Like, this is going to suck. Giving up what is right for, or giving up what is easy for what is right. All of those type of things, right? But there is probably the best description I ever got, and it was actually on our podcast. Nick Dowers gave it on our podcast, and it really resonated with me. He was talking about his faith, and it's like training a cult, and like this is God's relationship with you. Like when you and I've talked about it, and you talk about getting to the end of one's self, right? So it's like, I'm chasing this over here, and like I'm the cult trying this over here, and I'm kind of letting them struggle, making this hard. And then he's like, well, I'll try over here, making this hard. And then he gets right in the middle of you, right? And you're like, yeah, that's it. And that feels good. And let that feel good to him, right? And eventually there is an element of like that colt, if he's going to be like a really nice using horse one day, he's going to put in some long miles. He's going to go have to do 25-mile days in Wyoming or whatever, right? But like for me, being such a type A person, I think a lot of like me, at least I feel like I'm definitely more in line now with my purpose than I ever have been. And it was like, I had to ungrit my teeth a little bit. I had to not be so type A and not so trying to do everything. So it's like, yeah, I'm willing to suffer, but maybe I'm not doing near the mental work in terms of figuring out what's right for my life that I once was. Does that make sense?
If I'm understanding you correctly, you're talking about the release from God.
Yeah. Like if you're to use that analogy, like,
where's the good spot?
Right. Where's the good spot? Where is there no pressure? And there is an element of that, of like, someone could take, oh yeah, art of suffering, I'm going to do this and do that, and like life gets bad and I'm just going to suffer, and you get to a point where you can't just like man up your way through things.
Yes.
And you do have to kind of get a little soft on the inside, so that you're like, okay, what can come from an outside force and guide me here, right? And
so the release. So what anybody who doesn't know horses, what he's describing is when a horse does something incorrectly or is in the wrong spot, you apply a little pressure, and then when they find the right spot, you set them up kind of a puzzle, so to speak. And then when they find it, you release the pressure and you give them a break, and that's how horses begin to understand what you're asking them to do. The release is the king, right? So there's phases of life. And the phases of life, I'm stealing this from the book Fathered by God by John Eldredge, right? So we have boyhood, then we have the cowboy stage, we have the warrior stage, we have the warrior lover stage, then we have the king stage, and then we have the sage, right? So during the cowboy phase, this is when we're sowing our wild oats, right? This is when we're running off. This is when we're getting a lot of pressure from the king, okay? And what you're describing, in my opinion, is this stage. Now, this stage can last for some guys from 14 to 40, or like in my case, it was about 14 to 25, okay? And what you do is you basically chase your tail around. Like, you just run around like an idiot. And you're like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to chase my dreams, and blah, blah, blah. And you got no feel for what God is asking you to do. And so he's just pedaling you along, moving your feet. Yeah, do whatever you want to do. Come on, I'll go with you down this road, and down this road, and down this road, and down this road. And then at some point, you get to the end of yourself, just like your colt would, or like we will, and you look up and go, what do you want? Release. Well, then, just like you said, now what the horse has to do and what we have to do is we have to choose the rider. right? We have to be willing to be free and soft to what God's going to ask us to do. And no different for me. And like I've said on this podcast before, I want to be a ranch horse. So I not only want to take my release, which my release for me is when I get to come home from work or be done with work and I get to sit down with my bride. That's when I get to spend time with my children, right? That's my release from God's pressure on me. But his pressure on me is not to, it's not anymore for me to find the release. I know where the release is. It's for me to accomplish a mission. Like, just like it is for your horse to go rope a calf. Would that horse rope a calf on his own? Hell no. He would just sit in the pasture and eat grass. But if you called him like God would call me or you and say, come be a warrior for me, and he saddles us up and he takes us into the world to accomplish the mission, that's the pressure now. The pressure is the job. The pressure is loving the king through the job, even though the job's hard. And so this ability for myself, this ability to like understand my purpose is the release. It's like not saying no, not bracing to what he's asking me to do, because I've done that basically my whole life. And I'm just now coming to a spot in life where I'm like willing and, okay, Lord, you take me into wherever you want me to go and we will go there. And so the pressure isn't coming from necessarily the training that we would get in the cowboy stage, the early warrior stage. It's coming from the mission. And the mission is people's hearts. The mission is fatherhood, right? The mission is raising small men into grown men that are part of God's kingdom. And I love Nick Dower's analogy applied to a young man, just like a young horse.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think the way you just articulated it, I really liked. I think my biggest thing is I just don't want people, especially with all the like alpha male message stuff that's out in the world right now, don't confuse what Dalton's talking about, art of suffering, with like you're just running around and your life is really hard and you're not in line with a purpose.
The king,
right? Because
the king's what makes it worth it. Like it just sucks if you don't have him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it makes suffering, I don't know, maybe I lived a charmed life, but I think I work pretty darn hard and have some really hard days, but I'd like to think I never get like hateful about how much I have to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And at times when I wasn't as in line, and I'm not 100%, no one is, but times when I was way over here in left field having to struggle and like go down all these back roads, I was resentful about having to suffer. And now I'm not.
100%. Yeah,
and
it's like
that's important.
Hey, hang on just a second. Hey, Bill. Wiley. Hey, no balloon in here, dude. Take that in your room, okay? Well, and that's the point. The point of it is like getting good at it is the fun. So you're just at a point in life that you're good at it. It's like what I'm doing is what I'm asked to do, and what I'm asked to do is hard, and that's cool. Which is that's weird for some people, but anybody listening that goes to the gym or runs, or it's the same principle applied, except for once you understand that you can't do it, you can't fulfill your purpose without God. That's a fact. You can't do it. You will be a shell of a man at the end if you just grit your teeth and hate your way through it. Like, hatred is one way to get there, and then the spiritual love of God is the other way to get there. One way you end up happy, one way you end up wanting to shoot yourself, And it's just, it makes me so very thankful for the lessons in life that he has led me to this brokenness. Like, it's like, man, God, thank you so much for bringing me to heal. You know what I mean? For teaching me to follow you. Because manhood in and of itself, regardless of whether you're an ambitious man or not, is hard. You can either be successful and work really hard, or you can be fat and lazy and your life's hard because of that. You know what I mean? So you pick your hard. You know, it's going to be hard regardless. Your life is going to be. So every person on earth is going to find this podcast at some point because they're going to be like, why does my life suck so bad? And how do I suffer better? You know, like, and the art of suffering, that is the definition of it, is what you just described, is like, I put in some hard days, but I'm never angry about it. Well, that's the goal should be the goal for every man, is like, I can hang my hat on the fact that God's asked me to do something, and then it's difficult, and then I can do it with a loving heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, but it's good. It's good. It's a good hard, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's what we're designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
running,
as men.
Dude. Ooh, running. I'm built to pick heavy things up. that running stuff. I do it, but sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes. It's a challenging running great distances. My legs were not built.
Yeah. I'm definitely,
endurance.
I am definitely not built for running either, but I ran cross country, and I've run quite a lot of distance races as an adult, and got into like the Spartan races and stuff. And, not cross country, in my opinion, it's kind of like a wrestling or whatever, like all those sport and football, or like all those sports that are really hard, but cross country is like a special kind of hell, in my opinion, because it's like the only person inflicting pain on you is you. It's not
There's
the person on the other. Yeah. It's not the person on the other side of the line of scrimmage. It's not the person on the other side of the wrestling mat. Like, combat sports and all that, like that's a whole different ball game. And I've got a lot of respect for those guys, but the running deal, man, is just like literally like you're mentally arm wrestling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can learn to do that, like, you can learn to suffer. If you can learn to be competitive at that.
Those Cam Haynes and freaking David Goggins. Like, I listen to those guys.
All those guys.
Y'all are freaks, man. Like,
yeah,
God,
I'm nothing like those guys.
That mountain. No, me neither. Maybe with roping, like maybe I've roped the dummy enough to say like I've roped the dummy more than most people would ever want to, but damn it, dude, running, no, that's not a mountain I will choose to climb unless something's chasing me, dude. Like, I'm not kidding. But all that stuff is really. How was the Nick Dowers interview? That's freaking cool. That dude's like the Nick Saban of horse training.
Yeah, good. Everyone should go to the On the Move podcast and listen to it right now. And we've had him on there twice, and yeah, it's just awesome. I've been fortunate enough to know Nick, and honestly, he's been. I haven't been around him a ton, but he has been a very large influence in my life. And professionally, he's helped me some, but honestly, spiritually, he's probably one of the top people that's ever had an influence on me.
Really?
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I heard he's like hyper positive, like a super, like he's very, like he thinks on the good side of things is what I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I would call. So here's how Nick described himself to me once. And he was talking about back when he worked for Brian Newbert. Brian Newbert said, yeah, I would tell you to do something and you couldn't always do it. Like, you didn't always have the ability to do it, but you kind of ferreted your way through a lot of problems because you just always had blind faith in yourself. And that is like, to me, more than any person I've ever met, Nick is one of those people who's like, we're going to do this and it's going to work like this. And it doesn't always work the way Nick is necessarily like laid it out, but he always has blind faith that it's going to work out one way or another. And so, yeah, I'm not going to tell you that he's always positive. And again, I'm not it's not like I've worked for the guy or anything like that. I'm not the person to comment on Nick because I haven't been around him enough. but just my interactions with Nick, I think blind faith is a really good way to describe him, because he's like, yeah, we're going to figure this out. And I mean, what he did, kind of making a name for himself at such a young age, like having all the accomplishments in the show pen, he would just come back home after a horse show, and it's not like he was working for anybody. And I'm sure he had some guys to help him, but he's out in the middle of nowhere. Like, he had to just kind of go back to the drawing board and it's like, I'm going to figure out how to make this better. And not a lot of people have that like, okay, it doesn't go, like, they always kind of want to go back and maybe lean on somebody, or like, I just need this and then it'll be better. He was like, no, I'm just going to come back here and like, now we're going to figure this out. And he just had blind faith that he could do it. And
I would freaking
I
love
try
to
be
have
like
him
that.
and Nick Saban.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Man.
Because, like, dude, you're talking about successful people.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't quit. They ain't got no quit in them. They just like, this is the process. We're going to do the process every day, and we're going to freaking be disciplined. And it's just a really neat thing to watch. And I've never met him or ever talked to him or anything like that. I've just had friends that have gone and got to spend a little bit of time with him, and kind of like you, how you're describing, and he just sounds like just a really cool dude, honestly. Like, it just sounds like the kind of guy you'd want to be around, which I can't say that for everybody I've met that has worked in the show pen a bunch,
Sure.
I haven't met a ton of those guys, but you kind of get the vibe of like, and you could probably speak to this a little bit, but the same way showing up at a team roping or anything like that, like where everybody's kind of giving you that stink eye, you know what I mean? Or it's kind of like,
sure.
I hate that. I don't want to go anywhere that feels like that ever. Like, I just like to have fun.
That, I don't know. I'll be honest, man. I've been a part of a lot of different horse show associations, and I think that's just totally a culture thing. Because I've been to some places where it's like the nicest people in the world, and they're awesome, and I'm like, man, this has been a great horse show. Like, regardless of like how I did or anything, this was a positive human experience, me being out in the world.
Right.
And then like you said, other times you go there and you're just getting side eye and people are looking at you, and those are the people that'll be like, oh yeah, you can make it in this industry, but you got to pay your dues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we just spent like over an hour talking about how I'm not afraid of hard work, but I don't really like the term you got to pay your dues, because it usually means you're brokering in some sort of social capital that will lead you down some bad routes.
No, 100%. And like that, that's the thing about competitions, is if I show up and whoop you, dues are paid. What? Like, come on, man. And like, I just always operate of like, I've gotten to this point now to where the anxiety of being a part of 310, like literally millions of people have heard the phrase, this is Dalton Darnell with 310 Ranch Life, yada, 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 about a rope. You know what I mean? And so I would go to a roping, and I don't know if that guy standing 17 feet away from me that I'm walking towards is giving me the stink eye because I got a booger hanging out of my nose, or because he hates me because of the internet. So I operate off of speaking. So everybody that gives me the stink eye, I'm like, hey man, what's up? How's it going? And just, I hate that vibe, and people will get this preconceived notion about you because they've seen you maybe in a video or something, that you're a jerk, or you think you're cool, or like, I just want to sell some ropes, guys, and feed my youngins. That's it. It's got nothing to do with me. I just happen to be the cheapest option for the guy throwing the rope because I own the rope, right? So it's I don't know. It's the enemy at work. That's what he does, is he tries to make everybody feel like they're on an island, and he's really, really good at it. And but that's not my world. Neither is team roping or calf roping or rodeo or any of that stuff. Like, that's why we don't sell any of those products, because I don't know anything about any of that stuff. So it's but he's always just, Nick Dower's in it of himself. I watched him at the World's Greatest Horseman, and like I've heard stories about him. He just always sounds like such a freaking cool guy. Like he's probably similar. He just wants to go home and hang out with his wife and then ride his horses and
Oh yeah.
but you got to make a living.
And he'll tell you like if it was just like if he was just feeding his flesh like we talked about earlier, he'd just stay at home and cowboy.
100%.
Like he's got a gorgeous place to stay at home and cowboy. Like it's awesome out there where he lives. But he's made a name for himself, and from what I can tell, had a very positive impact on a lot of people. And he's, I think he feels like he's in line with what he's called to do. And I mean, like I said, he's had a very big impact on me spiritually. And I live in freaking Virginia. How would I have ever known about this guy in the middle of the desert if he didn't have all these show accolades, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it's all about in the end, is like, if we have success and people know who we are, hopefully we can use that platform to glorify God.
Yep.
And not ourselves necessarily. So, but kind of going back to that, let me ask you this, Dalton, because you travel a lot, you do all this stuff, and like I'm sure you get people who are, like you said, they're giving you the stink eye and doing all this stuff, especially like the guys from Alabama are going to teach me to rope, right?
Yes.
Yes. The people that act like that, are they ever like the top hand, like super, super handy people? Or are they like kind of the middle of the pack? Like, do you feel like any of that's ever derived from like some insecurity? Because anytime I've met someone who's been like, oh, I'm like big king of the range, I'm going to like, I am the big loop cowboy.
Yeah.
Like, they're not near as humble as the guy who's actually an absolute weapon with a 60-foot rope.
No.
In my experience.
100%. The guys who are good at it, game recognizes game. You know what I'm saying? They don't they don't care what you write in. They don't care. I mean, the people who are running their mouth on the internet are keyboard warriors. The guys giving you the stink eye, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a thing. And one of the best quotes, Theodore Roosevelt wrote this thing called The Man in the Arena. And I used to comment it to all sorts of YouTube comments. Like, people would talk shit and we would just comment that back. Like, because, and this is why I put so many misses in my videos, because I'm not perfect. And my job is to sell a rope. Like, what do you want me to do? So these guys, they'll call me a pig farmer because I've rode in a halter and yada, yada, yada. And these guys they're not doing the thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody come play me a pig yet. And if I was independently wealthy, I would ride around in a half-top trailer with one good horse and a bag full of ropes, and I would drive around to every keyboard warrior's house and challenge them to a game of pig. That is what I would do for fun. And I would love them the whole time I was whooping that fanny. But that's kind of the thing, dude, is like, people who are successful do not have time to act that way. They don't care. They don't care what you're doing.
Agree.
You're worried about what they're doing. I'm worried about me and my horse and my rope. And if I come in, and I'm saying as a successful person, I'm not saying me personally, but as a successful athlete, if I come in and rope to my fullest potential, you're not going to beat me. So that's how I'm going to operate, right? And that's how I expect the other extremely good roper to operate. And then we get to go duke it out, and you can just tip your hat to the fella when you walk out. That was a freaking boxing match right there. But the guy that's worried about what your horse has on his head, or the kind of saddle you ride, or the freaking boots you're in, or the fact that you're from a certain area, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. And so that's what I've chalked it up to, is like like you said, that guy's insecure with what he's got going on. And I hate that for him. And I hope he finds Jesus and he gives him his purpose. And because once you have all that, it's just like, man, I'm just here to rope. I'm just here to do what I need to do and go home and see my wife, But yeah, I used to get pissed about comments, dude. I would be so mad. I'm talking for weeks. I mean, I would just stew over it. And now I just don't care. I had a moment probably a year ago in a video. I called my Honda a Honda. And, there's a couple of different phrases for that word. There's Honda and there's Hondo. Okay. Kind of like McCarty or Makate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. I know what you're talking about. I don't care.
Yeah.
And so I had this dude freaking ream me out on Facebook about calling it a Honda. It's like, nobody that's ever roped anything calls it a freaking Honda, yada, yada. And I just, both barrels, boom. I looked it up on Google. I had AI definitions of both words. And a Hondo is a freaking Japanese Buddhist temple. And a Honda is an actual Honda. And then I was like, this is so dumb that I am getting mad about this. Like, what is wrong with me? And after that day, I was like, it's cool, man. Run your mouth. I don't care. What you need, Ben?
I can't find my toy car, my Sonic car, in the car.
It's probably a mommy's car. Go play with something else, okay? But yeah, dude, like, I used to get bent. Me and Richard talk about it all the time. Like, he'll get some dumb people comment on his stuff, and he'll call me and be like, listen to what this guy said. It's so funny. Back in the day, like when we first started, it was bad. Like, it was, people said some reckless stuff. But we were the first ones, literally. We were the first ones to pasture open on the internet. So,
hey, I told you first time we talked on the phone, man, like, you guys ruffled some feathers out there doctoring halters, and then you took the halters off and pissed more people off, and
which is so dumb. What? Come on, dude. Like, get out of here.
I never saw. I mean, to me, like, I understand. That's actually, I really wish I had asked your dad that question, and maybe you know the answer. When did your dad, I assume it was him, when did he decide, like, I'm going the rope halter route? Like, was that something he came up with or got from somebody, or just he was like, I'm cowboying in Alabama and it's wet and gross all the time? Or where did that come from?
It was literally just, I mean, his philosophy is, I want to get as much as possible with as little as possible. Like, that's his philosophy in life. Like, for freaking, with his dogs, with his horses, with everything. And so it didn't make any more sense to him to go any further than that. And honestly, like, where we worked, like he described it to you, ain't nobody ever coming out here. You know what I mean? Like, what the heck? And so the whole bridleless thing just came from, like, testing his connection with his horse. It was just like, well, I can do it without ever touching this McCarty rein. Like, I wonder if I can do it bridleless. And then he just did. And that was way before we ever filmed any of it, And so, like, he rides.
I wonder what the first time he tried that was like.
Oh, well, those two horses he's doing that on, dude, are freaking.
Yeah. I mean, they'd have to be, but there's got to be at least a little party in the back of your brain. Like, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have a rein in my hand right now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But he, it's funny because we would get shat upon quite a bit. And, and here's my definition of the bridle horse. Okay. This is just what I've gathered over my travels and listening to people do their damnedest to convince me that this is the way. Okay. Because that's what everybody does. It's like being a Christian. Those horses he's roping on with nothing on their head is a bridle horse.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you are looking for. Oh, I don't ever have to touch this rein. Okay, well, that makes, me neither, So, like, we're all looking for the same thing. And that's what I think people's misconception of us is, that we care what you hang on your horse's head. I promise you, that is the last thing. Now, if you go to snatching on it real hard, I'm like, God, if I was that horse, I might would buck right there. But other than that, like, I don't care. I don't care whether you're in a freaking, I don't even know the names of them. I know there's bridles and spade bits and blah, blah, blah. I don't know them because I don't care. I just want my horse to stay right here. And I want him to get that cow when I ask him to. And so that's how he taught me. And every horse I've rode quite a few outside horses now in, like, snaffles and curb bits and stuff, and whatever the owner wants them to ride in. And if we're going to sell a horse, we put them in a bridle, because
that's smart.
Whoever's going to get them, they're not going to ride in a halter. So whatever. But when it comes to my personal horse, I just get along with it. I honestly, if I'm being completely honest with you, and this is the most uncowboy thing I've ever said in my whole life, I prefer the rope halter to the hackamore, because I don't have to freaking retie it every time. Isn't that the dumbest thing you ever heard? It's like, man, I got to freaking tie this thing up every time I get on, And the halter, you don't. You just throw it on and go and whatever. And I've ridden bridle horses, or horses in the bridle, But again, if you don't ever have to reach down there and touch them, really. Like, correction's one thing. Hey, we're over here. Sure. Whatever. But I'm talking about, like, for the most part, you get in tune with the horse and you have a line of communication. It's a cool deal. So, and if I was showing like you're showing, I'd wear the bridle, because you're supposed to, and I want to win. If I went in there, it's like I talk about team roping, and everybody's like, "Oh, team ropers put a tie down on them." But if I was roping for $50,000, I put a tie down on my horse. You keep your head out the way. You know what I mean? Like, it's what you do. It's part of the game. It's like putting your football helmet on.
Yeah. I literally had someone ask me about tie downs the other day. And I said, well, I don't use them to train my horses. But you know what? If I was backing into the box 100%. For the 10th round of the NFR and all the money was on the line, and it's 55 feet from the chute to the edge of the arena wall and the Thomas and Mack, and I could put a tie down on my horse for the insurance that when, old Cisco, when I pull on the reins, he doesn't put his head up. Like, I'm going to stack the deck in my favor as much as possible. Like, if we're playing for blood and it's 6-figure paychecks on the line, like, I'm just going to put a tie down on, and he might not need it, but I won't have to worry about his head flying up when we're trying to get something healed in 3.5.
Yep. Well, the first pasture open I ever went to, I headed, and it was like a 40-foot score line or something, 20-foot score line. And then he blew out there and went and roped them. And I necked most everything I went and headed, but every time I turned them, I'd have done fed 22 foot of rope, and old boys out there trying to heal the sucker on 30 foot of line. You know what I mean? And so the next year I put freaking rubber on my horn. It looks silly because it's a Wade, but I sure did. I was like, man, I'm just killing my healer out there, and my horse can turn 5 head without dying. She's going to be fine, So it was probably a bit of a shock to her, taking the old curve there. But I mean, dang, man, it's a sport. The horses get used to what you allow.
Yeah. Well, it's same with those guys that are, like picking up and like managing the rodeo bulls and stuff. I've talked to those guys, and like, I know guys that out in the pasture rope with a slick horn. And then if they have to go work a rodeo, it's like, there's not enough space to operate with a slick horn in a rodeo arena. It's like bull needs to get from A to B, and I have quickly. Like this much chute. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Quickly. Like, we can't like slide rope and set this up and say, oh, easy. Like, we can't stockmanship our way out of this. Right. So,
right. It's adjust to fit the situation, dude. And I gave this big, long freaking speech at Texas A&M because I don't know why the heck they asked me to come teach there. But and I told them, I said, what I try to be is a hybrid. I think there's stuff that Texans do that's cool. And I think there's stuff that buckaroos do that's cool. And it's pretty obvious what I think is which. You know what I mean? Texans make a good boot, man. Them suckers make a handy custom boot down there, you know? And then I like roping with a long rope and a slick horn. And most cow hands that I've worked with that I would call a hand can do both. They're balanced. They can go fast and they can go slow. Guys who just run around like a helicopter, dinks. Absolute dinks. Guys that can't lope their horse, much less run after something, dink. Absolute dink. Useless doctrine yearlings. So having the ability to do both is just what the job requires. And what you have is a lot of people with opinions on what kind of tack and gear you would use that have never done the job. Because the guys that do the job do both. They have to. There ain't a Texan out there that's handy, even with a horn knot, that can't slip a hula hand on a calf. If they just stand there and just, bam. Now, they got to get way closer than I do. But that's handy too. That's handy too, you know? So I have respect for both because it's a hard freaking job. And we're probably one of the few tack stores or tack websites for sure in the world that cater to both. You know, I'm tying a 70-foot rope for some freaking charro in California, and the next rope I pick off the shelf is a 28-foot heel and drag that I got to tie a custom horn knot in it.
Yeah, that is cool. That is cool.
It is. And well, it's all cool.
And I'll tell you too, like, as far as like equipment, I feel like terrain has a lot to do with it. Because I don't have near the experience you do, but I've cowboyed in Oklahoma. And then obviously I've worked here in Virginia, and we're like in the mountains. Like the only flat part of our place is the arena, and we made it flat. And everything else is up or down, hills, all that stuff. And generally speaking, out in Oklahoma, it's way easier to have a slick horn and feed rope out there because it's like flat and there's grass and all that stuff. And here, like, I still use a slick horn, and I am getting better all the time, or trying to. But there have definitely been some situations where I was like, if I replayed it in my mind, I was like, that's where if I had rubber, I could have like stopped this from happening. Right. But I mean, I don't think that would fit me or what I'm trying to do with my horses or my cows. But I could see where, like, in that specific situation, the guy with rubber on his horn could have stopped that. Now he might have made another cluster, 30 minutes later, but
right. Exactly. Well, it's all cool, and it's all good stuff. It's just a matter of it's the mindset. And I said this at Texas A&M. I said the mindset is broken. I said if you walk around judging somebody based on something you're seeing, you're wrong. Don't do that. Learn from the good that they have to offer and learn from the bad that they have to offer. And then you'll just be better. And then probably not such a jerk, because I told them, I was like, I got guys in Idaho who comment on or guys in the Great Basin who comment on my stuff and say, all y'all do is run cattle down. And then I got guys in Texas that say, the only reason why you throw long shots is because your horse is slow. I just ran the other one down. Like, what, and this is on the same video. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. So it's just the mindset of the whole thing is pretty tortured, in my opinion. And that's why I don't like, I am a cowboy because God made me a cowboy and all the things, but like, I wear a t-shirt every day and I freaking wear a ball cap, and like, you're not going to catch me in boots unless I'm stepping on a horse. You know what I mean? Like, I just, I don't know. All that stuff doesn't matter to me. That's not what makes you a hand. Like,
right.
There's a bit of a dress code, and I tested it on TikTok. I tested it. My dad called me. He was like, hey man, like, you got to wear jeans or something. I'm like, dude, it's so freaking hot down here. And I went back and looked through all my videos, and the videos of me tying ropes and roping the dummy in jeans performed better than the ones of me in my workout clothes. So I was like, okay, I got to wear the jeans. I got to wear the jeans.
Branding right there.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's funny because he's serious about it now. He go to the beach in some blue jeans.
Yeah. I know the type.
Man. Well, Joe, tell them where to find you, man. Tell them where to find you.
So if you want to look up my business, you can look up McDonald Equine on Facebook, or McDonaldEquineLLC.com. If you want to look at the podcast, it's called On the Move. We're on Facebook, Instagram. You can look it up, Spotify, and all the other places you find podcasts. So yeah, definitely look that up. We have episodes come out every other week. We talk to cool people like John Darnell. So
that's right.
And yeah, that's about me. I did have one more thing for you,
Okay.
Dalton. I'm not trying to run your show, but
No, you're
I told
good.
you I
What
was
you
coming back to the house today, and this package from Elmore, Alabama, was sitting
Roll Tide.
on the front. Yeah, buddy. It was sitting on my porch, so I figured on the way in to get ready for this podcast, I should grab this. So, should I open this up?
Yeah, crack it open, dude. Let's go.
Yeah.
Did we get a silverback? Is that what we got? I can't remember.
You had me go with the spade.
Oh, okay. 9-0?
9.5.
Oh, the big one. Let's go. You're going to have to break her in.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is my first 310 rope. So if I start because I've never missed before right now, ever. So if I miss, it's this rope's fault, just so you know.
Is that a 60? Surely.
I actually got two. I got a 60 for me, and I got a 50 for the gal that ropes with me. She wanted one too.
Okay, that Honda looks pretty straight. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. This is getting advertised to the public.
Yeah, we gotta watch. We gotta watch that deal. We're working on our guys here.
Yeah.
So
9,
all
5,
you're gonna want to do with that,
60.
Joe.
Yeah.
This is key. So take that tomorrow, put it on a fence post, and feed the whole rope out like 3 or 4 times, like around your horn, and put some pressure on it, and then just go to dumping it on stuff. And after about 10 head, it'll start feeling like your old one.
Okay. Well, we had 2 cows that were limping today. We got to go do in the morning.
Let's go, baby. Yes.
Yeah. Just follow these instructions. You send them with instructions now, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've been sending those
feels
for
good.
a while.
But
our complaint for years was how limp they were, and so we got them spun with more body. And now the complaint is like they're kinky, and it's like just freaking break it in, and it'll be like a cotton for a little while.
I like. No, I mean, my initial thoughts is this feels pretty good. I like a little more limp rope, and I showed you what I was roping with, and I won't say that on here, but yeah, I definitely like a little more life to them. I don't want them plumb limp, but yeah.
Well, that one after some breaking in, it'll hold its body for a little while, and they do limping up with quite a bit of use, but we had them made for guys who are having to heal with them and do all the things.
Yeah,
that was like the old school ones, man. They would get ragged out like 2 head in. You'd be like, damn, this thing is. Especially if it was cold out, they'll get limper the colder it gets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just us talking, it was more limp than I thought it would be. Like, it doesn't feel bad, but you were just talking about like, oh yeah, all of ours have a lot of body.
Yeah.
And I'd felt the Cayman. Jake had that Cayman, but that seems like a pretty stiff poly to me.
It is. That one is. That one should be somewhat similar to the Cayman.
Yeah. Yeah, feels good, man. I'm excited.
The goal was the cotton. It was the feel of a cotton was the goal. That's what everybody
So,
loves the cotton.
I don't know if this will help you. But this probably won't help you like sell ropes, but I've figured out that I don't rope enough to like have a cotton, because I have a wax cotton, and I'm like, I get to rope cows like once a week or once every other week if things are really going good, and I get to rope like 3 or 4 head, right? And I was like, I'm never gonna break in this wax cotton ever.
I hate them. I freaking hate them. Like, unless I'm cowboying like every day, and if I lived on a cowboy salary, okay, and I didn't own the company that made the rope, I would want a cotton, because
That makes
they
sense.
don't wear out. You know what I mean? But I've had the same one for 5 years. And I broke one end, and I was like, I will never do this again. I am keeping this rope.
Yeah.
I will hand it down to my son so they don't have to do it. But I just deeply prefer the polys. And cottons are fun, like if you're branding a bunch or doctoring or whatever. But like for me, lots of times I'm trying to showcase the rope. You know, I'm trying to make it do things that like the fanciest you can do. That's what I'm trying to do with the rope. And the polys are just so much more forgiving for that. And Dad and Abby love the cottons, and they use them all the time. So it's not like I need video of those. So it works out. But yeah, man, you'll like it. I'm gonna bring some ropes to Virginia with me probably because I'm gonna drive up. So like that little stint there in October, I go to Kentucky for a 2-day clinic. I go down to another spot in Kentucky for 2 personal like private lessons. And then I go straight from there to Virginia, and then straight from Virginia to Missouri, and then Missouri to home. The last 2 weeks.
And you're driving the whole deal?
Mm-hmm.
Virginia to Missouri is no joke.
No, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I am bringing my car, so it won't be too bad, but and I'm going to break it up into 2 days, that drive. So I'll probably stay somewhere. Because it's like anything over 12 hours, I'm like, no, son, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
So about 7-8 hours, I'll shut her down and then slip in there the last day. But they're having a roping in Virginia, hopefully, and then they're having a roping in Missouri, so I'll get to rope at both.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, I told them straight up. I was like, I ain't judging.
Yeah.
I don't want to judge. I want to rope. So anyways, I did that in North Carolina last year and was like, this is bullcrap. Judging is for the birds. That's an old guy spot.
Yeah, that's when you're in the sage stage, right?
Yes, the roping sage. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Are you going to come roping that roping? You got a show that weekend, so you can't come.
No, I think I'm going to be there.
Yes.
Because the roping's on Sunday, so I'll be able to make it.
Sweet.
Yep.
Let's go.
And then, I actually think I might come, and depending on what time I can get there, I might try to do, because I saw where you could do 1 or 2 days of the clinic.
Yeah.
And then you had the advanced group didn't start till 4 on Saturday, so I might get there in time to rope in the advanced group on.
Oh, come on,
Saturday evening.
Yeah, dude, that'll just be straight roping, like literally, like we'll just rope for all 4 hours, and like we'll troubleshoot shots or runs or whatever. But like when you're talking about guys who can rope, I'm basically going to do a dummy demonstration of like all the fancy shots in case nobody's ever seen 1 or 3 of those or whatever. And then it's going to be like, all right, what shot do you want to learn? And then I'll teach that particular shot. And then we just go to roping and talk about teamwork the whole time and like how to set each other up for good standing heel shots and that kind of crap. But the advanced group is pretty chill because those guys can normally handle themselves. You don't feel like anybody's going to die, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The intermediates will get you. They'll get you killed. You got to watch those guys.
Well, I've got a couple clients that I think are going to go ride in that clinic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Would they be intermediate or advanced?
One guy's going to be a beginner. So I've got his horse in the barn right now, and he's saying he wants to rope, and I mean the horse is pretty solid, but I've got the horse for like the 3 months leading up to the clinic, and I've been like, I was dragging logs with her today and like just getting her super, super gentle so she can be like the horse that he learns to rope on. Yeah. So he'll be in the beginner category. And then I had another gal who she went to that clinic that they did up in Virginia with the Carolina Ranch Ropers deal. Not you didn't do the clinic. No, it wasn't you. Okay. But it wasn't you. But they had it like last back in July. Like Todd Dillon hosted it.
Yeah.
And they had Derek Wise do the clinic and everything. So she did that clinic, and she's been like taking some lessons. She's been coming over with her little horse and like tracking the dummy and stuff like that. So I actually was going to ask you, like, I didn't know where she maybe need it to be? Like, is beginner like never held a rope before, or like,
Yes.
like what would you?
If she can swing and throw a sidearm and a tip over and a heel trap, she needs to go to the intermediate.
Perfect.
Like we're talking we're talking like the intermediate will start with the hula hand swing. Kinda.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if they got a forehand going their way, maybe not even roped very much, but could. The hula hand's kind of the beginning of that. And then we'll do some breakaway roping and then learning the groundwork and we'll make sure everybody's horses are okay as you can in an hour, and then if anybody's going to die, then they don't go in, or they just stay breakaway. So, but if her horse is good and she can swing and rope a dummy, then she just needs a cow to throw at, and she'll probably be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the horse has been, she hasn't like come tight, but I mean, like I said, she's been doing stuff. She'll be doing stuff with me between now and middle October. So I'll try to prepare her as much as I can. And then she was like, well, am I going to be ready by October for blah, blah, blah? And I was like, I guess that depends on how much you practice. Like all of this stuff's just a function of time. Like I can't make you an intermediate roper if you don't do it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she wouldn't die. So that's the goal.
No, I don't think she would die. But she was all worried about like, should I do beginner or intermediate? She called me this weekend worrying about it. And I was like, I'm actually going to talk to this guy on Monday, so I'll let you know what he says.
Yeah, tell her to do intermediate. That'll be good for her. You want to push yourself. Like you don't want to be standing there with people who can't coil their rope and build a loop, because to me, that's a beginner. Like somebody who can't throw and catch a dummy with a sidearm.
Mm-hmm.
That's right? So if you can do those things, then you are working towards the next step of like being able to actually do something with your horse and your rope. So yeah. Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, cool, man. Thank you so much for coming on, man. This is a great time to visit, and I look forward to meeting you in real life. It'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully you make it on Saturday. That'll be a blast.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. I'm probably going to have something like when I bring stuff along, my biggest hurdle is I'm the only one at our place who is really competent necking anything, at least in the pasture.
Yeah.
And so it's like when I'm trying to bring something along, it's like, man, it'd be nice to just have somebody, even if we just put them in the arena, somebody like neck something for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just lay a few down, like heel a few down, and feel better about this horse coming tight or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when I see it, that's probably what I'll pick your brain about more, is just like how you guys like to bring your horses along in terms of like exposing them and doing the job and stuff. And like, when is it time to go from the arena to outside, all that stuff. 'Cause you guys have trained more horses to do that than I have. So
yeah, dude, I look forward to it. It'll be a blast.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll put this baby to work tomorrow. Let you know how it goes.
Do it. Let me know. Don't miss. That's terrible.
I haven't yet. So I'll let you know what variable changed if I miss it all tomorrow.
I hear you. All right, man. Well, guys, if y'all need me, Dalton at 310edu.com is my email. Shoot me an email. You can find all my contact info at 310edu.com. We'll see you in the next video.